The difficulty with having telekinetic powers is remembering not to use them without thinking. You'll understand if you doodle in class or meetings, or if you twiddle with anything, a pencil, for example. I just caught myself spinning my pen absent-mindedly, except I don't use my hands, I use my mind. I urgently drop the pen because it would appear to be rotating in mid-air by itself if anybody noticed. Luckily, I'm sitting in the back now, so the person most likely to have seen is the professor, and she's facing the other way, writing on the board. I glance around the room to see if anyone is staring at me, and they're not, until my eyes reach Damon Van Ark. He's looking right at me. I quickly break eye contact, wondering if he saw the pen. I'm probably over-worrying. He's not sat at the best angle to have noticed, but it's possible he did. I need to be more cautious. Last week, I pushed the clock's minute hand forward 5 minutes during a particularly boring lecture. That professor doesn't wear a watch and is always glancing at the clock, probably as desperate to reach the end as everyone else. I thought no one would see, but a few students laughed or gasped. I'm sure nobody's mind jumped to telekinetic classmate, but people might start piecing it together if I'm not careful. It's hard not to be paranoid in my situation. I changed my identity after an incident in my hometown. I'm terrified of being found or recognized, especially in the age of social media. I avoid having my picture taken, but it's impossible to stop it happening entirely. Loads of photos were taken at the Halloween party last year, but I wore a mask. The glitzy type people wear to balls. My first video covers the events of last Halloween. This is the third part of my story and can stand alone, but I'll leave a playlist link in the description so you can listen to the previous episodes if you want. Anyway, back to what I was saying about being anxious. It's sometimes tough to be optimistic because my roommate and best friend, Sutton, is prone to paranoia. She doesn't know the truth about me, she's just a natural catastrophist. We were walking to the library a few weeks ago and we passed a tour group of potential new students. One of them broke away from the herd and started power walking after us, at least according to Sutton in her immediate panic. I thought he just happened to be headed in the same direction, but there's always niggling doubt when you have my past. We were some distance from him when he left the tour group, so I don't think it had anything to do with me. But he did seem to be almost running towards us. Luckily, a professor intercepted him and pointed him back to his group. Even if he was following us, he was probably just some creep planning to hit on Sutton. 99% of the prospective students won't get in because our college favors the extremely rich and privileged. So I don't think we have to worry about seeing that guy again. That's why I came here. The chances of stumbling upon anyone from my old deadbeat town are minuscule. But the remote possibility of it happening still keeps me up at night. I meet Sutton and our friend Gordo in the cafeteria after class. He's from a poorer background like me, so we clicked instantly as humans amongst aliens. Not that I've got anything against our wealthier peers, for the most part. It's hard not to be jealous, but Sutton and her family are kind people that have been good to me, so I'm trying not to hold people's affluence against them. But it's difficult when surrounded by guys like Damon. They don't know what it's like in the real world. It's probably never occurred to them that crippling poverty even exists in our country, or that they've had so much handed to them through privilege. At least that's the vibe they give out. I have the worst luck with these people, Gordo sighs. What's this? I ask. My new roommate. I know what you're thinking. Why, Gordo, he can't possibly be worse than the last. But you'd be wrong, my friends, very wrong. Who is it this time? His name's Elliot. He told me that, very reluctantly, I might add, when I tried to make conversation. I asked where he's from and he snapped at me, saying he's here to work, not make friends. So we barely say 2 words to each other for weeks, and that's fine by me, but as soon as I mention that my friends are girls, he suddenly wants to be my homie. I'm not interested, of course. Does he take it like a normal person? Spoiler alert, no he doesn't. He starts following me. I had to hide on the way here to get away from him. You should report it, Sutton says. You go with him, I suggest. They'll take it more seriously if someone from a wealthy family supports the request for a swap. I hate to say it, but you're probably right, she replies. After lunch, my friends head to the student support office. We agree to meet by the water fountain after our final classes. Sutton is there first. I'm walking towards her when two jocks dash past me. Dude, let's chuck our shakes at Sutton, one says. They jog towards her, taking the plastic lids off their drinks. I can't help it. Before they can throw their cups at my friend, I explode the contents in their own dumb faces. One of them seems shocked but laughs it off. The other throws a hissy fit and repeatedly kicks a garbage can, much to the amusement of everyone around him. How did I know that would happen? Asks a familiar voice behind me. I turn to see Damon. Oh, what do you mean? I respond as my heart fills with dread. I told them to throw their shakes at Sutton, but not before announcing it to you en route. Why would you do that? He smirks at me. I think you know the answer to that one, don't you, Ella? It's almost surreal hearing my old name. I haven't been Ella Brown since last summer. What do you want from me? Relax, I just want to talk, and you need me. It's a miracle nobody's worked it out before now. I mean, Carrie White, seriously? Doesn't take a genius to connect the dots. It's apt, but also like you want people to find you. I chose it because of the novel when I got a fake ID to buy vodka. I was like 14. How was I supposed to know a few years later it would be the only ID I had to start a new life? Not everything is easy when you're not a Van Ark, you know? I didn't know where else to get a new identity. That ID was a good dupe. I couldn't not use it to get other identification. Please tell me your full name isn't down as Carrietta. I just said Carrie and the guy put Caroline. Also, my name is Carrie Black. You keep getting it wrong. I realize now he's probably been calling me by the incorrect name deliberately. How long has he known? And why didn't I see this as a red flag before? He smirks again. As if that changes anything. You really haven't thought this through. I mean, if I dyed my hair blonde, you'd still know it was me, right? Why do you think it's any different for you? What do you expect me to do? I snap. I'm tired of this conversation, but I can't walk away and risk him telling people about me. If those jocks weren't total idiots, he'd have pretty much told them already. My heart is sinking with the realization that my life here is over. I can't stay now that somebody knows who I am. At least I'll have some money on the run this time. I have a few ideas, Damon replies, but I need you to do something for me. You've probably heard how bad our football team sucks, but if we had somebody like you to move the ball here and there, it would be a different story. We might even make the finals. Why would I do that? I ask, but I'm not listening when he answers. I'm too busy thinking about whether to tell Sutton the truth. She knows telekinetic people exist. If I told her we could say goodbye properly, or even better, I could ask for her family's help starting over with a new identity. But would they want to help me if they knew who I am and what I've done? I can't bear the thought of my best friend hating me. I catch the end of what Damon is saying. I ask him to repeat it, and this time I listen. His plan takes 10 weeks to carry out and recover from. I miss a lot of classes, but between Sutton, Gordo, and Damon, I have my assignments and I'm kept in the loop. I still wonder if I'm making the right decision by not running, but Damon hasn't told anyone about me to my knowledge, and I'm not sure being alone in the world would be my best option. My mother might help me for no other reason than protecting herself, but what can she do? She's got little money and less sense. Gordo doesn't approve of my recent decisions. He keeps asking if Damon forced me into it. I can't tell him the truth, so I'm endlessly trying to convince him that me and Damon aren't a couple and he has no power over me. Gordo's in a sour mood when he drops off my latest study notes. I don't think he's adjusting well to someone new joining our friendship group. I'm fairly sure Satan has a child called Damon, he tells me. I think that's Damien? Look, you've got to drop this, I reply. Sorry, I'm just done with today. I saw Elliot, my psycho ex-roommate. I think I forgot to tell you what happened with everything going on with you. When student support pulled up my details, they said I was never assigned another roommate. They don't think Elliot even goes here, but they couldn't check without his last name. They confronted him months ago and he bolted. Student support changed the locks and he stopped going to classes and everything, so I thought he was gone, but I just saw him in the library. Did you talk to him? No, I booked it before he saw me. It's not that uncommon, Damon says as he walks in. Morons that don't get in sometimes just pretend to be students thinking they'll be allowed to stay if they prove themselves academically. They still get kicked out. Unless they have the right last name, I add. But then they wouldn't need to pretend to be a student in the first place, Gordo points out. Where did he get a key to your dorm? I ask. I don't know, but it's creepy, and why is he back now? He can't be trying to prove himself academically when he's already been found out. I suggest, maybe he was meeting a friend? Gordo replies, maybe. Who cares, I guess. It's not really a me problem unless he goes all stalkerish again. Gordo leaves after pizza, and I watch a film cuddled up with Damon. Why are you helping me? I ask. You should hate me for what I've done. I'm not a good person. Neither am I. Not many people are when pushed to the limit. Our conversation is cut short because Sutton runs in, soaked and hyperventilating. I was just being followed, she gasps. And you led them here? Damon snaps. Obviously not. I ran all over campus in the rain to lose him. She looks at me. And before you ask, yes, he was definitely following me. Next time call me, Damon tells her. You can lead him to the frat guys and he can see what happens. Next time, Sutton says, flopping down on her bed. I wonder if this has anything to do with Gordo's ex-roommate, but I don't mention it to avoid scaring Sutton. The next day is the first match of the football tournament. We're against another elite college. Damon hasn't really told me why he wants us to reach the final, but I gather it's got something to do with his father. I don't push him for his personal history, and he returns the favor. I play my part, moving the ball slightly in ways that nobody will think unnatural, but that ensures our win. Honestly, our team would be a lost cause without me. The celebrations move from the pitch to the Kappa Sig mansion. Most of the student population is here, even those that weren't at the game. I've not been out of my bandages very long. I'm worried about getting hurt if somebody bashes into me. It's important our team only scrapes every win until the final, Damon says. I'm about to ask why when Gordo appears and tries to crouch behind me. Creepy ex-roommate alert, he whisper yells. Ugh, he's seen me. There's a blonde guy approaching. I don't recognize him, but he looks kind of like that prospective student that left the tour group to pursue us. Sutton is across the room. I catch her eye and her face confirms my suspicion that this is the man that followed her. Damon whispers in my ear. That's Jason Wright. He was a guest on his brother's podcast about you. The name is familiar. I've never met Jason, but he was probably there the day of the massacre. His older brother Leo was in my grade at school. Leo self-published a book about me that mysteriously vanished from Amazon after a few weeks. The podcast lasted longer, but also disappeared overnight. I don't remember Jason being a guest. I can't have reached that episode before it was taken down. Jason holds out his hand for me to shake. He says, I don't believe we've met. I'm Elliot. Him being here doesn't fill me with the unbridled fear it would have only a few months ago. I turn to him, nervous but confident my new nose will do its job. If it doesn't, my name will. I'm Carrie. Carrie Van Ark. I see the confusion on his face. I don't look like Ella from his ill-fated hometown. As well as my nose, I've had my lips and breasts altered. These details add up to make me someone other than the girl he remembers, and the Van Arks are notoriously not to be messed with. I could have sworn you were somebody else, he mutters almost to himself before wandering off through the crowd. Bye then. I told you he was creepy, Gordo says. Wait, you two are related? We're married, I blurt at the same time Damon says. I'm his second cousin. He scowls at me. We agreed on the cousin story, but I can't bear to lose my connection with Gordo. Both of our families struggled with poverty, and there's a bond that comes with that. I don't want him to think I lied about my upbringing. It's one of the few things I haven't lied about. Only joking, I add hastily. Damon's father adopted me. Aren't you a bit old to be adopted? The Van Arks get what they want, I say truthfully. Gordo shrugs. I guess it's not the weirdest thing that's happened around here. 2 weeks later, I'm searching my hometown online. I like to check that nobody's talking about me and see what they're saying if they are. It's a habit I've tried and failed to kick. Anyway, here's the weird part. Leo and Jason Wright went missing last week. It feels like cogs are at work that I'm not aware of, and I've felt this way for a long time. You're probably wondering what happened in my hometown. I'll tell you in the next episode.